Well, welcome everyone. We're so grateful that you came today. And this was a, a labor in the making because we've tried to do this live so many different ways. So we're grateful that you're joining in today. And so we have Holli Nesbitt here, and I'm so excited. I have met her on Facebook and over this last year, and she has just given me so many great information on what to do, how to take care of her health. And she really specialized in chronic illness. And she's a mom of three, and she's really into holistic medicine, so I can see why that resonates with me. And so we want to talk about sneaky toxins that can wreck your gut. And she's just really has had this in her own life, and so she wants to share some of the tips that she has found to really be able to just live a thriving life and to do it holistically. And that's really important. So, so Holli, welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Jody. Thanks so much for having me on. I love this topic. I think a lot of people are probably struggling with stomach issues in America. I feel like so many people have different things or complaining about IBS or complaining about different things. And there's certainly a lot of toxins that can definitely be contributing that maybe we don't even realize. I know for sure I didn't realize. So I'm grateful that you had me on so we could kind of talk about it a little bit and maybe help some other people out there too.
Yes.
So do you just want me to kind of start out with sharing my story a little bit?
That'd be great. Yeah, because
Okay.
the people get to know you.
Yeah. So like Jody said, I'm a mom of three and I really am passionate about holistic health, but I didn't start out that way. I actually had no clue about holistic health, really. That's not how I grew up. And I started developing, well, my husband and I had bought a house. We were young and we had two kids at the time. We were really excited about it. And I started to have stomach issues within about 9 months of living there. And I was starting to get like stomach pain. It was kind of like an upper stomach pain in my upper stomach. And I would have like more and more frequently it would happen. And then it would also be more and more intense. And I was really like unsure of what was going on. And prior, I had gotten my gallbladder out like a year prior, because I was starting to get like some stomach issues then, but they took my gallbladder out. It was fine. So I was like, okay, I'm fine. And then it kind of resurfaced. So I went to a lot of gastroenterologists. Of course, nobody knew what to do with me. I had a lot of endoscopies, colonoscopies, and a lot of times whenever I ate, like my stomach just really, really hurt. And I just was starting to like have like deficiencies and like losing weight and things like that because food was such a battle for me, like to eat, that it was really bothering my stomach. And so I was like, okay, well, if the gastroenterologists don't know what's wrong with me and they've ran all these tests, like, I don't know what to do. And so I felt really like upset about it and I cried a lot and I was kind of depressed about it because I'm like, I can't believe like this is my life. Like, this can't be like this went on for a long time. And so I was like, I'm just going to get on the internet and I'm going to look for like alternative methods or like anything that I can find that might like help improve gut health. Like I didn't really know what I was looking for, but like I knew like something had to give because nobody else had answers. And I had tried a lot of like medications and things. And um, so long story short, just to kind of condense it, I ended up finding out that I have celiac disease. So that went undiagnosed. And then after I found out about it and I cut out gluten, I also found out that my body wasn't responding to a gluten-free diet. So that was kind of scary. And I found a holistic doctor that could really kind of, look at some of these things. And I love, Jody, what you do with muscle testing, because I wish back in the day, like I would have known somebody like you. I had no clue what muscle response testing was. I would have been like, what are you talking about? That's Chinese to me. But like, you would have been really valuable in my life back then because you could have probably helped me, connect the dots. And so long story short, I had celiac, and then I had a lot of gut infections. And the biggest, sneakiest culprit that was going on that I didn't realize was the home that we had just moved into. It actually had mold, mycotoxin mold. which I didn't know what that was at the time. But this lady that I was working with, she's like, you know, you really should test your house, test your body, and just kind of see if maybe that's what's going on. And funny enough, we had a leaky back door that kind of always leaked. And we didn't know that when we bought the house. The previous owners actually were dishonest and they didn't disclose it. And so we didn't know. And I didn't know that like water damaged and things like that could cause mycotoxins. And those mycotoxins, you know, you breathe them in and then they go into your digestive tract and they wreak havoc and they cause damage to the lining. And that's really what kind of cascaded me into this terrible downhill slide. And I started having just like all these stomach issues, but it also triggered a lot of autoimmunity issues and the celiac and things like that, because the mold was really messing with my immune system. So that's kind of the big rabbit trail in a condensed version. But it took a lot of effort to figure that out. So, yeah.
Well, that's great. Yeah, because some people don't realize how much mold, impacts them. And I mean, even Susan Summers wrote that book about toxic, and you don't realize that, yeah, she had mold and what she had to do about it. And so, yeah, it's just really something that people don't realize. Something really simple, just by, something like mold on your top of your countertop or below. And we're always testing to find out, okay, where is it in the house, so that people can try to troubleshoot, clear it up, and things like that.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Found it.
Well, the funny thing is, now that I'm aware of it, I've actually met a lot of people who have been dealing with the same things. They know it is, they know the mold's there and they're addressing it, or like they're having a lot of the same mystery symptoms and like stomach pain and things like that. And they just don't understand why they're having it. And so I think it's really important to advocate for yourself and like never give up, because if somebody says, oh, well, it's in your head, or we don't know what's wrong with you, that's not really true. It's just they're not testing for the right things. And so you have to dig a little bit deeper. So, even doing something like muscle response testing would be great, because it can really help bridge that gap and get you from way closer to your goal that you want. So, for sure.
Yeah, no, it's very true, because it's sometimes going to be in, the ceiling, the floor, it's the materials in the house. I mean, there's just so many different ways. And so being able to find that through muscle testing has really been helpful for my clients. So yeah, it would have been helpful to meet way back then.
Yeah, for sure.
So what have you done to help you now be able, I mean, obviously I think you've moved and you've cleaned up and you're aware of the mold now. So what do you do now to make sure you have good health?
Yeah, that's a great question. I love that question. So we did move out of our home, and we followed what's called the shoemaker protocol, and we cleaned a lot of things. But then it came to the point of my body, and my body needed to detox the mold, and that's a process in and of itself. So one of the biggest things that I can tell people, if you do find out that this is going on, you can look into getting it remediated or move, or both, but then from there, in order to really help your body, one of the things, and I say this really because it's so stressful. Like when you hear that, like, this is happening, it's like, what are you talking about? Like, that's my home. Like, I don't want to leave my home or whatever. Like, and maybe you can get remediated and you don't have to, but like, try to manage your stress, whether that be prioritizing sleep and going to sleep on time every night, making sure that like you take just little breaks and don't push your body, and just really work on stress, because the stress is really just going to drive more inflammation in your body. Mold illness is super inflammatory by nature. It wreaks havoc on your digestive system. It wreaks havoc on, a lot of brain fog, so much inflammation. And so stress is only going to add fuel to the fire. So definitely something you could do within your own power is managing your stress as best that you can, which I know that can be easier said than harder than, hard to do sometimes. So prioritizing sleep is good. The other thing is if you're suspecting this or you're not quite sure, just get a test, call a mold company and have them test your house. And you can also test your body through muscle testing, or whatever is available to you. But don't just wait and think, oh, maybe it'll go away. I wish I would have known sooner, because I may not have ended up with autoimmunity. I may not have ended up with some of these other things that now I have for a long time. So definitely manage your stress and look into testing things. And then detox is super important. And there's a lot out there on the market when it comes to detox. And I think it can be a little overwhelming, to know like what's what. So I think the most important concept of detox is making sure that your body is producing enough glutathione. That's your master antioxidant. And it doesn't really matter what you have, whether it's mold or Lyme or any kind of illness, your body has to have optimal glutathione to detoxify itself. And so, it's really, there's a lot of things out there. People do like glutathione IV or glutathione, in liquid or whatever. But if you can get your body to make it, it's going to be really, really, really beneficial. And once your body starts doing that, it's able to really help bring down inflammation too. So that was really key for me. It was probably one of the biggest things that I did to help kind of turn things around. So yeah, those would be like my 3 categories.
And not everybody knows about what glutathione is. And so, yeah.
No. And that's why I'm so glad you had me on, because again, I had to go through all this stuff to really be this type A personality. I'm not going to live my life like this, and really, really dig deep and work so hard at that to figure these things out. And it's exhausting. So if this video can be a blessing to somebody else and help them get from A to Z way faster, we've done our job for sure. So
very true. So do you have something that people could follow you, to kind of get different support and ideas? Because I know I have my own platform, which is Health Puzzle Academy, where I teach a lot of, classes on how to do that, masterminds, and that's on Facebook, and we have a YouTube account. But what do you have, Holly, that you can really help us support?
Yeah, so I think that I think what you do is amazing. And I think that having the muscle response testing, I can't even do that. So I think if people came to you for muscle response testing, I think you do that even over the phone or through the computer. Hands down, probably super, super valuable. But also we do have groups on Facebook that are educational groups to help people understand how they can allow their body to produce its own glutathione, different specific nutrients you can use that will help that production. So that way you can really be proactive about your health, and you can get started and really help to calm down all of that inflammation. And so whether it be mold, whether it be, something else going on, it's only going to be beneficial to have a lot of glutathione. So we do have Facebook groups. So if you're interested, if anybody's interested in those, you can definitely comment below wherever you're watching this video, or send Jody a message. And I think that would be a really great, I wish I had that way back in the day. So I think that would be a huge blessing and a good place to start. So
good. Well, great. Well, I was just glad that people got a chance to know you and kind of your story and why and what you have found to be so important that we need to have in our bodies. And so sometimes, I go so fast with my testing, we're making sure we're connecting the dots, but really getting in there and explaining, hey, you need glutathione and you need those nutrients, and and to eat it, sleep and no stress. Those are the basic things that that's how you take care of yourself. And so I appreciate you helping us remind us of that.
Yeah, for sure. And, I think that it's wonderful what you're doing. You have a big heart for helping people and bringing awareness to these kind of things, because the more we can bring awareness and the more we can share these stories and different resources, then it's going to empower everybody else to really take their health back. And I love that. So thanks for having me on.
Oh, well, thank you. I really appreciate it. So,
all right.
Yeah, great. Thanks, guys. Well, you know where to go to find us, and we can tell you which Facebook groups we have found to be very, very helpful for both of us. So that would be great.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Jody.
Blessings.